Books can and will change your life. Here's a few to consider reading this year. They will help you to think better, to have a better quality of life, to have more money, and to achieve whatever goals you desire. This first book, Money Master the Game, is by Tony Robbins, and it has so much information, it's crazy. It is a huge, huge book. This book is super cool because it gives you a 7-step path to financial freedom and financial peace. This blueprint can set you up for success and help you to be free from worrying about money, which most people want. Tony Robbins is also one of the biggest self-development gurus and people who have changed millions and millions and almost probably billions of people's lives. And he knows a ton about money, and he's also around a lot of people who have money. And so he interviewed 50 experts and puts all of the information from those people in this book. And so it's pretty thick, it's pretty big, but if you're willing to just pick it up, read it, start studying it, it could change your life this year. This book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, is a very comprehensive, basic beginner book. It's a lot of words, but it's very structured and kind of easy to follow overall, even though it is like small print, so that can be a little bit intimidating. I do have a full video on it if you're interested, and maybe that breaks it down a little bit better, but it will help you to kind of get a basic understanding of money, what to do with it, how to manage it, what accounts to open, and then getting you started with investing your money. And so if that is the stage you're at, that can help, but I will warn, don't only do this. Don't only do this unless that's what you want and you want to stay in your job forever and then you want to have some money when you retire. If that's what you want, absolutely. And I think everyone should start there. But if you're interested in starting a business, if you're interested in making even more money, I have other books for you, and I'll put a video with recommendations for some of my favorite books to get really wealthy and etc. I just wanted to put that in there because I think I saw that, you just have to invest and that's how people get wealthy. But the people teaching you that are getting wealthy in another way as well, besides the investing. And so I want to teach you all of those strategies too, if you want to use them. Not everybody does, but I just want you to know that. And that's another reason why I wrote my book and why I'm writing it and going to get it out eventually to all of you. All right, if you know anything about me, I studied human development, psychology, sociology, and I became really interested in evolutionary psychology. And this book, Blueprint, is by Robert Plomin, and he is a professor of behavioral genetics. And this is so fascinating because he's done so much research on the nature versus nurture and how our genes or our blueprint kind of impacts who we are. And it talks a lot about evolutionary psychology, and it also talks about how our genetics and our genes are kind of a big reason why we act the way we do. Obviously, you are not doomed by your genetics, but I do think this will help explain a lot if you're interested, or just look up some of his work. It is really incredible, and some of the smartest people I know and people who know a lot about this topic always reference Plomin. And so that's why I ended up getting this book, and I thought it was really fascinating and interesting. If that's something you're interested in, I'm all about personal development and learning more about myself and how I can be better and happier and healthier and wealthier. And this is a great way to kind of understand yourself and other people around you better. Next, I want to share Surrounded by Idiots. I absolutely hate the title. I saw it from someone I highly respect, and they've built a YouTube channel with over 2 million followers and are just really intelligent, and said that this is one of the few books that they would recommend. So I picked it up, and I've actually read some research on this before once I had read it. It is a 4-color model. There's red, there's yellow, there's green, there's blue. And it's saying that we all just kind of have a general personality type with communicating and with how we do things. And so if you think someone is an idiot or stupid or doesn't understand or whatever, they're not really an idiot. They just understand and do things differently. And so it kind of explains the different colors and the different classifications of them, and why you might have a hard time getting along with that type of person, or why you might be frustrated. But it explains kind of who they are and what their thinking is and how they like to do things. And the goal is so that you can understand people better instead of just writing people off or getting frustrated. You can try to have more compassion and empathy and really seek to understand that there are different people out there. I've heard someone say one time, like, hey, we're having this disagreement. You're speaking Chinese, I'm speaking Japanese. Like, we just aren't speaking the same language, right? Like, we're trying to say something, but it's just not clicking. We're speaking a different language right now. And so this can kind of help you to understand the language of other people so that you can work better together and have a more enjoyable existence. Another book that I didn't add with the money one, but that can make a good impact on you is The Richest Man in Babylon. This is a really little lean read. It kind of talks a little bit Shakespearean, which is interesting, but there's lessons on 7 cures for a lean purse. And so if you don't have a lot of money, it's more lean, then there are things and principles you can do and that everyone must know in order to make more money eventually and in time. It talks about this made up city, Babylon, and it talks about how there's like this king and then there's these other people who don't make as much money. And it's like, well, how did they get rich? We were in the same class. We were in the same school. Why is he so much wealthier than I? I work hard. I do these things, but I'm not wealthy. And so it kind of walks you through why these people aren't wealthy and these people are and what you can do about it. Because like I've learned, anyone can get rich. Anyone can get wealthy. You just have to learn the principles in order to do so. This is an incredible resource and a beautiful book. It's very thick and dense, but it's easy to read. There's pictures. The words are fairly big. And I love this. It's from Brené Brown. You might have heard of her. And she is incredible at explaining human emotion and human understanding. And she does a ton of research on emotions and behavior and how people feel. And what's really cool about Atlas of the Heart is it explains emotions. And so instead of just saying, I feel sad, I feel angry, I feel happy, or I feel scared, like some of these very basic emotions, she dives into emotions more deeply and helps you understand a wide variety of emotions, and that it's not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 emotions. There's a lot more. In Atlas of the Heart, she describes 87 emotions with 13 different categories in hopes that people can understand emotions better and their feelings, to not only understand it for themselves, but to be able to communicate it more effectively with other people. I have found this in my own life. The more that I understand myself, the more I understand how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, the better I can communicate it with others, the better I can take care of myself, but the better I can explain it to like my husband or someone when I'm experiencing something. If you don't understand it, if you don't even know what you're feeling, it's going to make your life harder and more difficult. And so I'm a huge advocate for understanding your emotions, for increasing your emotional intelligence. A lot of really successful people have talked about it. And I think this book is a great guide just to read through to help you to do so. All right, I have a little trifecta for you. It's by Austin Kleon. My mentor, Ali Abdal, who has almost 7 million YouTube subscribers, recommended these to me. They're really short. They're bestsellers. Steal Like an Artist, Show Your Work, and then Keep Going. And so this is for people who are creative, for people who are trying to build something, to create something, who are trying to achieve a goal. I think it's really, really helpful. This first one, Showing Your Work, talks about like documenting and, sharing your creativity. And this is something that has helped me in my life, being able to share on YouTube and start expressing some of the thoughts that I have, the feelings that I have, helping people, teaching, sharing what I've been learning or what I've learned. And I think sharing your work is incredible and can open up so many doors. It can make you happier. And it's kind of a really fun little book that it's nice to have. So if you're interested in that, highly recommend it. This one, Steal Like an Artist, is also awesome because I know it says stealing, but it's talking about how nothing in the world is like totally innovative or 100% its own idea. Usually it's inspired by someone else or something else. And so it's teaching you how to steal like an artist. Even in YouTube, in Ali Abdal's course, there's a section on viral replication and how you can replicate someone's video who went viral in your own way. And Ali did this, and a lot of other successful YouTubers have done this, and that helped propel their channel because they looked at what was working and then they kind of made it their own. And so stealing like an artist, stealing these ideas, it's kind of interesting. It kind of helps unlock some creativity, which I found interesting. This book is Keep Going, which is 10 ways to stay creative in good times and in bad. And so I thought this was awesome, especially like with the YouTube channel. I think it's super cool just to like step away from the numbers or step away from what's working or what's not working, and just to encourage you to keep going. And it kind of gives some practical tips and tools on sharing that it's normal, sharing what to do with it, sharing perspective, and encouraging you to keep going and keep pursuing your creative works and what you are trying to do. Speaking of continuing on with your goals, The Compound Effect is an amazing book to understand this principle. You've heard of compound interest with investing, and how if you invest $500 a month for 30 years, for 40 years, for 50 years, your money is eventually going to compound and gain interest. And it starts off just like this, and you put your money in, but eventually you make so much more money than your initial principal. It's insane because that money compounded and grew. And so the compound effect talks about how if you compound certain habits, like if you eat one salad, your whole life's not going to change. You might feel a little better that day, but you're not going to lose 100 pounds. But if you compound those habits and eat 3 healthy meals a day and 3 healthy meals in the next day and the next day and the next day and the next day, or you show up at the gym over and over and over and over and over and over again, those habits compound and stack and lead to great results. It's what you do daily, and it's those little habits that eventually will give you those big results. And so it kind of explains exactly how this works, why this works, and it explains kind of Darren Hardy's background and how his dad was very disciplined and helped him kind of get that discipline and get those, principles that you need for success. And he's one of the best success coaches out there to this day. And I think what he teaches can help you a lot. Another book that could be helpful is The Dip. This is a tiny book. It's by Seth Godin. I was not really familiar with him, but I actually watched an interview with him the other day, and he's really a genius marketer, and it was really fascinating. And so maybe I'll link that interview below. Super helpful. But I bought this book when I saw a YouTuber that was in Ali Adal's course, Dea. She has blown up to, 200, 300,000 subscribers. And she posted this video that said, the reason I didn't quit YouTube, and then I got 100,000 subscribers. And so it was interesting. And so this book talks about the dip, or what is experienced when you are going for a goal, when you're trying to do something big, and what weeds people out, and then what helps people succeed. And so kind of these struggles and these obstacles that you face is what is going to build you to create and achieve that goal. And it's also going to weed out the people who really don't want it enough, or who aren't willing to do the work, or who aren't willing to keep going and put in the time. And so it talks about when you should quit and when you should stick it out, and kind of gives you some encouragement there, which I think can be really beneficial. A lot of times, like, we are all so capable, and I really hope to be able to show that by building this YouTube channel, to show anyone that any person can do what they want and achieve their goals, but we have to stick with it, and we have to continue on, and we have to be willing to deal with all of these uncomfortable feelings and so much more. Books have changed my life, and they're continuing to change my life. I hope these books are interesting to you. Let me know if you like these. I'm happy to do more. I'm going to be sharing the business books, the top business books that can help you. I have a bunch already on my channel with reviews. Feel free to check them out. I'll link them below, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's make it an amazing year. What you do today, what you read today, who you're around today is going to impact who you are tomorrow and in the future. Be mindful.